political corruption, financial corruption, war, unwanted war. There's a huge relevance to anybody who's ever had a stream of consciousness, who's ever fallen in love with the wrong person, who's ever been in a relationship that has an ill fit.
And for the cast and crew, adapting it was a process of discovery as much as dramatisation.
It's a wonderful, wonderful blueprint for an actor or anyone trying to dramatise any of those characters. We all fell in love with that book. Part of his remit with Parade's End was to write a book that would shock people into the realisation of quite how costly war was, how absurd, ironic, terrifying and ruinous it was.
It's into this world of contradictions and simmering tensions that Ford introduces his hero. 26-year-old Christopher Tietjens is the son of a wealthy, landowning Yorkshire family, and he represents all of the traditional values the war will soon sweep away.
He's already a man that's slightly out of joint with his time at the beginning. He's a very old-fashioned man in the Edwardian world. I mean, the reason I fell in love with this character is because he's got a profound sense of duty and honour and virtue about him. He's a truly good man.
The minister has to show that the figures for the insurance bill will balance.
Well, they won't. And I should have thought it was his department's duty to tell him so.
I love every field and hedgerow. The land is England, and once it was the foundation of order, before money took over and handed the country over to the swindlers and schemers. Toryism of the pig's trough.
He's a Tory, but not in our version, our modern version of Toryism. It's not about free market capitalism, and it's not about releasing laws and taxation. It's about duty and honour to the past and to those above and below your station. Respect, but at heart what's really good about him is that he lives by this code of conduct whilst the world is going mad around him. And although he suffers a great deal by doing that, and at times sees himself that it's foolish, he's true to his word. And I think he has the most spectacular set of principles. I think if I lived half as principled a life as a man like Christopher Tietjens, I could die happy. The beauty of that love story, I guess, is that they are intellectual sparring partners, they're equals. And I think, although they come at it from different angles, they're very, very similar people. It's as much to do with the mundanities of moving troops, of checking that the right people are being asked for fire extinguishers, that the cook has put his uniforms and utensils away in the right place. It's about the day-to-day running and mundanities of war. And I think that's where it reads to me as being authentic. It must have been quite a shock to hear such a complex story told at such a helter-skelter modernist pace. It was almost as if people were seeing their world forged anew, which is really, I guess, what the modernist movement was. I think our fascination with this period is a rich and complex one. I think part of it is to do with the fact that it's an era on the edge of change and that it's such a forcibly painful birth into a new modern era, and that the war marked it. That's I think, one of our fascinations. The other one being that it is an era now that only survives through accounts. We don't have a living link to that era anymore.